Check 1, 2.
Go! Curious about real estate? Yes! Then you've come to the right place. Get the knowledge you need. Get over the fear and get started. This is the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show with your host, Michael Quarles.
Hello, everybody. Michael Quarles with podcast 143. On today's podcast, I'm not going to answer any questions. We're not going to talk real estate. You're going to hear a conversation I had with one of my coaching students who is just, he's hating it right now. And I'm trying to help him. And I want to help him as much as I can. Understand the value of being a real estate investor. And so it's a conversation I had with him, and it's from my heart, so it's kind of hard to share, but I think it's so important to hear these words, that because if you're struggling or if you're wondering or if you're doubting or anything like that in life, no matter what circumstance you're going through, it might be good to hear, good food for the soul. And if it helps, why that's good food for my soul. So take a listen, and you guys have a great day. Talk to you tomorrow. Here we go.
Hey, Mike, how's it going? Michael?
Good. I'm disappointed. May I share why?
Go ahead.
I don't have any.
Oh, the affirmations? Yeah, I'm a little down.
Well, we all get down. Hell, There's not a day that goes by that I don't have a choice of either getting up or getting down. I mean,
True.
We can all go, and put our head in the sand. We can all, blame something about us not doing something or why we're not doing something. But heck, if we choose not to do it, we are going to fail. And your last statement on your page is, I'm losing confidence again. Well, your first statement on your page, besides your name, was, I don't have any. So if I tie those together, I don't have any confidence. What the hell that's all about? I'm not trying to chew your, but if it sounds that way, I apologize. What I'm trying to do is figure out how I can help you not to feel like I don't have any confidence. Because real estate investing is pretty friggin' easy. You go, you send something, you somehow talk to folks and you say, hey, I buy houses, and they say, I have a house to sell. You go out there and you make an offer in a way that causes them to say yes, and you buy a house. And I know that's how it's done because, heck, I'm buying about 60 some a month now.
Oh, that's impressive.
So
I don't know. It's just not. I think there's just a misalignment between what my expectations were and what I'm actually getting right now, and it's not your fault, my fault, anybody's fault. It's just I think that's why I set myself up for, and that's why I maybe just feeling. It has a lot to do with the last 2 years being not easy. So it's kind of like that little demon in the back of your head that wants to crop up and say, what makes you think it's any different?
Well, what's the last thing that you did that was easy?
Waking up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Think about the guy or the gal. In fact, one of my trainer works with one who he was just minding his own business, working, doing his job. He pulled over on the side of the road to help someone who was having car trouble kind of stuff, and went up to them and to help them. And as he was walking between his vehicle and their vehicle, another vehicle hit his vehicle. Instantly, his legs were removed from his body. which makes every day really tough to get out of bed.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't met a man that's the definition of not a quitter more than this man. I mean, he can do handstands. He can do all kinds of stuff. Everybody else would look at him and say, well, he's handicapped. He's absolutely not handicapped. He just doesn't have any legs. My mom, which is my wife's mom, and I call her my mom because I didn't get to have one. Her brother, I moved him in our house. He's 88 years old. Been a priest all of his life until they retired him, because after a while you can't be a priest. You get so old that you can't do that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Goes to the doctor, and the doctor says you have to have major cancer surgery. And the other day I was talking to him, and the bishop was in town. I'm not Catholic, but when you're Catholic, these people are important.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, did you want me to call the bishop, have him come over and chat with you? He says, Mike, I'm not dying. Well, he may be a little bit naive on that one. But what an attitude. Because they're going to take pretty much a lot of his insides out and put things on the outside of his body to replace them. And that's if he lives. It's hard for me to understand because I just don't have that mentality. A defeatist attitude.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time in my life that I was afraid to get in the boxing ring because I thought the guy was going to kill me. But other than that, and he didn't, by the way, since I'm here talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't look at why I can't do something. I don't look at what the negatives of something may be. I look at it differently. Like a lot of people will say to me, well, I'm afraid to try. And I'm afraid to not try. Because I can't change my environment unless I try.
Mm-hmm.
So affirmations for me are crucial because they're what inspires us to try. And if I look at my simple life that I have, that I live, as an example, going back to my mom's brother, the priest who's going to have major cancer surgery and thinks he's not going to die. If on my affirmations and on my goals I didn't set them correctly, he would not have a bed to sleep on. He wouldn't have a family around him in the could be the last moments of his life to love and support him. He would be at his home, living by himself in another city, with none of his family around him. But because I set affirmations and I set goals and I've achieved those, and I know what I stand for and what I do, I get to do those things for folks that can't do them for themselves. I don't worry about what I get to do. It's a different mindset. And when I read your sheet this morning, I didn't want to talk about real estate with you. I wanted to talk about what real estate does for you, or at least it does for me. 17 cars so far for folks I knew and didn't know, so I knew of them or didn't know them at all. A boat for a cancer victim who they didn't think he was going to make it through the summer, and his wish was to go back out on the lake one last time. So we bought him a boat. Bought everybody groceries in a grocery store on Thanksgiving. I made sure it was a poor grocery store, because if I went into a rich grocery store, then it wouldn't serve the purpose I was trying to serve.
Mm-hmm.
I get to do all those things because I'm a real estate investor, that I've set goals, and I've set proper goals, and I've achieved them, and I have an opinion about myself that causes me to have success. And if I didn't have them, I wouldn't have those things. I wouldn't have, if someone asked me, Mike, what do you stand for? And being a Republican, if I answered it as a Republican, I would say I stand for making money, because I don't think there's anything wrong with it. If they asked my Democrat side of me, I say I stand for doing those things for those people who cannot do them for themselves. And I think both of those are a great position to have in life. That I make enough money that I can have both things I want. Because I'm a real estate investor, and I've taken the steps to do that. I'm going to challenge you to change your opinion about yourself. Set some goals, set your affirmations, decide who you are, what you stand for, and start doing this stuff. I mean, we're on lesson 7,
Mm-hmm.
and we don't have any realtor calls. We have an agent call.
I have to put in another one, so
no cold greeting. Let me look at last week's.
There's nothing on last week.
Yeah, we're just. I hate saying it, but I mean, I'm not. I hope you knew this before you hired me. I am not the guy that's going to be nicey nice when nicey nice isn't appropriate.
Sure.
I'm absolutely a son of a sometimes. Not in a cruel way, by the way. I will absolutely support you in every way I can support you. So,
Mm-hmm.
I remember vividly one night, my wife and I were at a nice restaurant, very nice restaurant, probably Bakersfield's best. And there was a, I don't know if thug would be the right word for him, because I have a lot of respect for thugs. Let's just call it a wannabe thug, was on the patio where you could have dinner kind of stuff. And he was trying to pick fights with people. And he had brought a couple guys with him, so he could do that without harming himself, with 4 or 5 guys together against one dude. It's not kind of fair kind of stuff. Then all of a sudden someone screamed out, "He's got a gun." And so everybody was running, as well as I was, but I wasn't running away. I was running towards him. Because I figured in every time of need, there has to be someone that stands up and solves the problem. So fortunately I didn't get shot, but he was apprehended, and I'm sure he had a very nice night in jail, or a couple of them. But we have to have a different perspective of who we are, and what we want, and what do we stand for. And I don't know a lot about your past. I don't know a lot about your present, but I want to change the future.
Mm-hmm.
In order to change the future, I need some help from you. I need you to want to change the future. And it can't be just words. It can't be, it can't be, I want to change my future but not do anything about it. And I'd like to have you make that commitment to yourself and to me. That before our next call, maybe one of these forms will be filled out. You know how to fill them out. You know what to do. You know what we're trying to accomplish here. It's real simple. We're trying to talk to as many people as we can talk to, and tell as many people as we can that we're a real estate investor. That's all we're trying to accomplish here. And one of those people, or 2 of those people, or 3 of those people are going to stand up and say, "Hey, I want to sell a house," or "I know that someone's wanting to sell a house." And if no one stands up, at least at the end of the day, that we won't write down in the last sentence on the sheet that I'm losing confidence, because you can't lose confidence when you're doing the stuff you're supposed to do. It amazes me that Roger Bannister was the first person in recorded history to run the 4-minute mile. But pretty amazing if you think about it. No one had ever done it. He was the first one to do it. More amazing to me was the next year, 23 people ran a sub 4-minute mile. So 23 people the next year realized that someone had done it, therefore it could be done. They did whatever they could do. They probably worked out like he did, trained like he did, ate like he did, whatever he did, they did. And 23 of them ran the sub 4-minute mile. Now this is in like recent, history. It's like 20, 30 years ago kind of stuff. What's more amazing than those two amazing things to me is there were billions of people or millions of people, or at least thousands of people who were runners who chose not to. Can you imagine for a moment knowing something can be accomplished and it's what you want to do? You're a runner. It's what you've chosen to do in life, is to be a runner, but yet you do not take the steps appropriate when you know that they're laid out in advance for you so you can succeed. And only 23 people did. So the third one's the most amazing thought on that. I don't want you to be in the third group. I want you to be in the second group. I want you to believe it, do it, utilize it, buy some houses, create some wealth, change your life. The day that I paid off my credit cards and all the bills kind of stuff and had more money than I needed, I didn't know what to do. I felt like life was a little bit too easy. It actually bothered me a little bit. I never shared this with anybody, but it bothered me so much that I actually made an appointment with a counselor because I thought something was wrong with me. I was thinking, well, why did it happen to me? Because those people around me, it wasn't happening to them. What I learned is not everybody has the drive to want to succeed. They're in society, we need the people that follow people, but we also need the leaders. And you have to decide which one of those you are. Because to be a leader, that means you have to stand up for something, you have to have affirmations, you have to have goals, you have to have a spirit of confidence. You have to show people that things are possible because you show them that you do it, and through you now they can believe. And when you do that, pretty cool stuff happens. You just have to decide which one. And I know this wasn't the call you wanted today.
Mm-hmm. That's fine.
But think about what I said. Make an appointment to see me again or talk to me again. And let's get some stuff done, okay?
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Michael Quarles Real Estate Show. Get more info and stay in touch at michaelquarles.com.